IMF and World Bank Group annual meetings are going on in Washington, D.C. at the IMF and World Bank headquarters. Now, Sri Lanka has already sent a delegation led by Dr. Nandalal Veerasinghe to attend these sessions. Now, Sri Lanka is currently undergoing a IMF program to recover from one of its worst economic crises. Good morning and welcome to the Breakfast Rundown with me, Zulfick Farzan. Senior officials from the International Monetary Fund have commended Sri Lanka's economic turnaround following a deep recession, urging the government to maintain its reform momentum to secure long-term stability and growth. Now, speaking on the sidelines of the IMF and World Bank annual meetings in Washington, D.C., Thomas Helbling, Deputy Director of the IMF's Asia-Pacific Department, highlighted the island nation's impressive recovery, noting that Sri Lanka has transitioned from crisis to a growth through a homegrown reform program.
On Sri Lanka and fiscal consolidation and balancing and growth, I think let's take a step back. After a deep recession during the crisis, Sri Lanka has now implemented a program, a homegrown reform program, and now benefits from very strong growth. 5% last year, we estimate 4.2% this year, and the next year sort of going towards potential of 3%. So the key advice at this point is really continue with program implementation, reap the full benefits of the program, and then growth will come and continue. For Sri Lanka, what is important is to continue on the way to stabilization, make sure that the institutional and other factors for macroeconomic stability are given. Fiscal consolidation plays a key role, and also ensuring viability of state-owned enterprises to mitigate or lower contingent risks to the budget will be key for these benefits to continue.
I think the point I would make is, Sri Lanka has come a long way from where it was a few years ago. And so the advice we would say is stay the course. You've done the difficult part, continue with the reforms, and you'll see the benefits. You're already seeing the benefits, you'll continue to see more benefits.
Now, Sri Lanka's Deputy Minister of Economic Development, Anil Jayanta Fernando, has urged a shift in how the country measures and manages its tourism sector, emphasizing the need for quality, sustainability and strategic diversification over sheer volume. Fernando acknowledged Sri Lanka's natural appeal as a tourist destination, but cautioned against over-reliance on tourist arrival statistics as the sole indicator of success.
Tourism, on the one hand, is key in the potential area in addition to the maritime area as well. Why? Sri Lanka is a good destination, but again, it has its own constraints and limitations. Tourism cannot be developed endlessly. It has own limitation. Being a small country, we can do certain things, but we have not maximized its benefit. For instance, if you just take this particular room, there is a maximum capacity of just bringing people inside. So we need to have a moving capacity. If you invite 1,000 and 1,000 people inside this particular room, nothing will happen. That would really end up with chaotics. So likewise, in the tourism sector, unfortunately, we take only one statistic. So that is the number of tourist arrivals. So when the number of tourist arrivals, go up, we claim, hail that yes, tourism is developing. Of course, that is one of the indicators we admit. But tourist arrivals itself does not help. The other areas are there. Now, tourism as an experience, tourism diversity, the stay period, and tourist spending, the respect for tourism. So therefore, these are the new areas, the potential in that regard. Maritime tourism is one of the key areas we suppose we better explore these things, and I just urge investors to look at these opportunities to how best we explore the maritime or the tourism by respecting the sustainability. So this is area sometimes, because as I just told you, our government is always responsible to take care of the interest of the general public and every stakeholder.
Now, the Asian Development Bank Country Director for Sri Lanka, Takafumi Katurno, has called for a strategic shift in how Sri Lanka harnesses its ocean-based resources, urging a balance between economic ambition and environmental responsibility. Speaking at a high-level forum on maritime development, Cardono emphasized that Sri Lanka possesses all the ingredients for success: natural assets, strategic location, and human capital, but must now focus on targeted investment, robust regulation, and global branding to unlock the full potential of its blue economy.
You have everything. But there needs to be further investment, better regulation, and then branding, of course, as well. But it's not just about enjoying the ocean, but it's also about protecting it and empowering communities and shaping a more resilient future for Sri Lanka. And harnessing this blue wealth can generate new livelihoods in tourism, fishery, and related services, while conserving these fragile ecosystems and marine assets. We have taken a multi-pronged approach to develop high-value, low-impact interventions that preserve ecosystems while unlocking growth. And by combining economic development with environmental stewardship, we hope to show that Sri Lanka can be a good global leading example of how marine tourism drives prosperity while protecting the very resources on which it depends. So our strategy and the government strategy for tourism growth is to be inclusive, sustainable, and people-centric. And in the blue economy, infrastructure and people go hand in hand. And as the ports move cargo and vessels, tourism moves lives and drive economic growth. The ocean brings vast opportunities and joy to Sri Lanka, but a conscious effort is needed to better regulate investments and activities so that the ocean can continue to bring prosperity to the people of Sri Lanka. The ocean surrounding Sri Lanka is more than a backdrop, it is a partner in economic progress. Ports, logistics, and marine tourism together are the threads that weave the fabric of the blue economy that is globally competitive, regionally connected, and locally inclusive. For more than 5 decades, ADB has been a partner in building this vision, and as Sri Lanka charts its path forward, ADB remains committed not only to finance projects, but to sharing knowledge, fostering partnership, and unlocking innovation. And I must stress again that the private sector is key. Government spending should not be directed to investing in things that the private sector is willing to invest in and potentially do better. The government's responsibility to ensure a favorable and stable enabling environment for investment and leveraging private financing. By doing so, together we can ensure that the waves that lap our shores not just carry cargo and vessels, but carry opportunity, resilience, and prosperity for generations to come.
Now, Sri Lanka Customs has reported its highest ever daily revenue collection, earning 2.47 billion Sri Lankan rupees on Wednesday, according to the Director General of Customs. Now, since the beginning of the year, Sri Lanka Customs has collected a total of 1,867 billion rupees, bringing the department closer to its annual revenue target of 2,115 billion rupees. The Director General expressed confidence that the target will be comfortably surpassed before the end of the year. Now, at the same time, Sri Lanka's Inland Revenue Department, or the IRD, has exceeded its tax revenue target for the first 9 months of 2025, achieving 102% of the expected collection. Now, this is according to officials who briefed the Committee on Ways and Means in Parliament. Now, as of September 30th, 2025, the IRD has collected 1.6 trillion in tax revenue, surpassing the projected figure of 1.610 trillion. This performance represents 75% of the total annual tax revenue target of 2.1 trillion Sri Lankan rupees. The figures were disclosed during a committee meeting of the Committee on Ways and Means held on the 8th of October, chaired by Vijayasiri Basnayaka, Member of Parliament. Now, the committee convened to review the progress of tax revenue collection, assess year-on-year growth, and discuss strategic reforms aimed at enhancing revenue generation. Now, the NDTV World Summit 2025 will commence today at the Bharat Mandapam in New Delhi, bringing together a distinguished assembly of global leaders, policymakers, entrepreneurs, innovators, and cultural influencers for a dynamic exchange of ideas and solutions. Now, the summit aims to foster inclusive dialogue across sectors, addressing pressing global challenges and exploring opportunities for collaboration in a rapidly evolving world. Now, representing Sri Lanka, Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya is attending the summit and is scheduled to deliver a keynote address. The summit is being held under the patronage of Indian Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi, with a host of international diplomats and dignitaries expected to attend. Now, Prime Minister Amar Surya departed Sri Lanka yesterday to participate in the event and has already held bilateral discussions with India's Minister of External Affairs, Dr. S. Jaishankar. The talks focused on strengthening economic cooperation, enhancing digital transformation, and expanding educational partnerships between the two nations. Now, during the meeting, Prime Minister Amar Surya expressed appreciation for India's continued support during challenging times and reaffirmed Sri Lanka's intention to deepen its strategic partnership with India, describing the country as a close neighbor and long-standing ally in the region. Now, in a personal moment during her visit, the Prime Minister also toured Hindu College at the University of Delhi, where she is an alumna, reconnecting with her academic roots. Now, she is expected to meet Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi later today for further high-level discussions. Now, the Met Department says that showers or thunder showers will occur at most parts of the island after 1 p.m. Now, fairly heavy falls above 75 millimeters are likely at some places in western, Sabaragamuwa, central, Uva, north central and northwestern provinces. Showers may occur in western and southern provinces in the morning too. The general public is kindly requested to take adequate precautions to minimize damages caused by temporary localized strong winds and lightning during thunder showers. And finally, the 2025 ICC Women's Cricket World Cup continues today with a high-stakes encounter between Sri Lanka women and South Africa women at the R. Premadasa Stadium in Colombo. Now, the match scheduled to begin at 2 p.m. local time and will be broadcast live on TV1, part of the Sirasa Media Network, and will also be streamed online via sirasatv.lk, offering fans across Sri Lanka full access to today's encounter. And with that, we wrap up this week's edition of the Breakfast Rundown with me, Zulfick Farzan. Until I see you again next week, take care and have yourself an amazing weekend.